Ko Chat village is 20 km from Din City towards Highway 21. The original village named Ko Hayan was formed very early thanks to the accretion of the Nin Ko River during the process of encroaching into the sea. From the beginning of the road leading into the village, one can see the silhouette of Ko Chat temples and pagodas, a cluster of works with typical architectural art of the 18th and 19th centuries. Not only preserving the ancient architectural and artistic values, it is also the cradle of silk making as famous in Thanh Nam. Everywhere in this ancient village, you can see the silhouettes of golden silk bundles drying in the sun or the rattling sounds of silk spinning factories, when in the past, ancient people simply used silk to weave nets to catch fish. Later, silk weaving was introduced and became the livelihood of the people in the village. To get quality silk, workers must be meticulous right from the stage of raising silkworms.
All the steps to raise silkworms generally only take 20 days, or a little more than 20 days. In the raising process, there are many things, and it is also a bit difficult. Raising silkworms is difficult, but it is also very difficult, and easy is also very easy. Therefore, the responsibility of raising this type of silkworm farming is second. The first is to be very careful, and the second is to be clean. The third thing is to feed in moderation. If you don't feed in moderation, it cannot be guaranteed.
Mr. Duong's family in Puong Din Commune has 2 strawberry farms near his house. To ensure there is a good food source for the silkworms, Mr. Duong has to grow it himself so he can feel secure. When raising silkworms, you must pay close attention to the quality of mulberry leaves used as food. Workers must regularly choose delicious green mulberry leaves to feed the silkworms. Even if mulberry leaves are a little old or have a strange smell, it can affect the quality of silkworms.
I have to get strawberry seeds from Thai bin. In tilling the soil into bricks, every 1.2 minutes is a row. When I fertilize it, it will grow a silk strawberry. When the silk strawberry has grown for 3 or 4 months, I will only take 1 round, not 2 or 3 rounds, because the amount of strawberries I have is limited. Only that level is guaranteed. When it eats and feeds the nettles, then the nettles have enough berries.
Mr. Duong's family has to pick mulberry leaves several times a day to have enough food for the silkworms. Mulberry leaves must be selected as young and green to ensure they are healthy. Hatched silkworms need constant feeding. Young mulberry leaves are placed in a thin layer on the silkworm's body. If the leaf layer is too thick, the silkworm cannot move and the silkworm brood will be damaged.
From 5 days to 6 days 7, that means it already has silk. That is, when we look at that silkworm slowly grows from the neck to the tail. Its tail also has a bit of this. That means it has excreted all its feces and urine, and now it is there as well as if I caught it and let it make a nest.
There is a saying that when working in the fields, you eat rice lying down. Raising silkworms, you eat rice standing up. Silkworm farmers must be on duty with hundreds of silkworms continuously. When the silkworm is ripe, the workers quickly catch it and move on to the cocoon making stage. It contains silkworms that are left to dry in the sun. When drying silkworms, you also need to watch for light sunlight. This way the cocoon will have a beautiful yellow color. If the sun is strong, it can easily kill silkworms. Even though it's dark and the sun is out, silkworms still need to be maintained at a suitable temperature.
During the day, the sun is steady, so we have brought it out into the light to suit the conditions. The temperature is just right for it to nest. After a day from 6 a.m. to the afternoon, it must be brought in again. Then we start using this electric bulb, which means returning the light to the temperature of the outdoor room. So now all the light, when it reaches this level, is a silkworm. Every time it turns around, it will spin silk.
Mature silkworm cocoons are removed and selected for spinning. This job is often done by older, experienced women. Good silkworm cocoons are cocoons with lots of silk, few cocoons, and are uniform in shape and size.
So I bought the cocoon, picked up all this straw, and put it in a pot of hot water to grow silk easily. If these straws stick to it, the thread will break. So we have to pick it up and clean it, making it easier.
Silk reeling is the work of spinning silk threads from silkworm cocoons into silk threads. Silk growing time must be within 10 to 12 days with closed cocoons. If you wait too late, he will bite the cocoon and get out the silk thread, which will be broken and cannot grow silk. Every day of spinning, every nursery in ancient town is filled with steam. The job requires a high degree of flexibility, so it is mainly done by women. This is also one of the most arduous steps when spinning cocoons. In Kochat village, people often use both white silkworms and yellow silkworms. During the process of reeling silk, people cook silkworm cocoons in boiling water to make them softer and easier to tear. The worker must always stir the explosive cocoons on the water surface, select the original thread to pull out, wrap it on spindles, run into the silk area across the water pot to pull out all the silk in each cocoon, creating silk.
When it's done, people repeat that steps. They finish once the chrysalis and cocoon are all gone. The only thing left is the pupa, or the membrane of the last shell. After that, people sell the pupae or weigh the pupae.
Once the cocoon is completed, the silkworm pupa is filtered again before being sold in the marketplace. This byproduct of the silkworming process also brings part of the income to people's lives. Besides the main product of the cocoon pulling process, the newly planted silk bundles will continue to go through many more stages to be completed.